Hi friends, welcome to our channel Smartness. This is Meera. Today we are going to discuss about the skin and its appendages. Let's start with the introduction. So, what is skin? It is our body's largest organ, a protective outer covering that shields the body from germs, injuries, and UV lights. The skin is an extensive organ which is continuous with the mucous membrane lining the body orifice. The skin has two main layers, the superficial layer and the deep layer. The superficial layer, which is the outermost layer, is called as epidermis, which is made of stratified squamous epithelium, and a deeper layer called as dermis, which is made of connective tissues. There is a junction between these two layers, that is to the epidermis and to the dermis, which is wavy because of the presence of finger-like extensions from the dermis, as you can notice in the given figure. Now, the epidermis. What are epidermis? The epidermis are the superficial layer and they are the outermost layer of our skin. The epidermis are a primary barrier against external environment. These epidermis consist of five main layers. Those are stratum basilae, stratum spinosum, stratum granulosum, stratum lucidum, and stratum corneum. So, let us learn individually about the layers of the epidermis. The stratum basilae, which is the deepest basal layer of the epidermis, and it is made of single layer of columnar cells. These cells undergo mitosis. So, what is mitosis? Mitosis is a mitotic division. A mitotic division is to continuously produce a new skin cells. This is how epidermis regenerate itself. For example, if we have met with a small scratch on our skin, you don't need to suture it. Automatically after some hours or some 1 or 2 days, it recovers on its own. The recovering of the skin on its own is due to mitosis, that is the mitotic division. These cells, when they undergo mitosis, they give rise to a new epithelial cells called as keratinocytes, which form the more superficial layer of our epidermis. This stratum basilae are also known as germinal layer or stratum germinative. The next layer is stratum spinosum. The stratum spinosum consists of several layers of polygonal keratinocytes. These cells appear to have a number of spines. Due to the presence of spines or spine cells, they are named as stratum spinosum. This layer provides strength and flexibility to our skin. The main function of stratum spinosum is to provide strength and flexibility to our skin. The next layer is stratum granulosum. Stratum granulosum has 1 to 5 layers of flattened cells. It is a granular layer of the epidermis. It's located between the stratum spinosum and stratum corneum. It has a main function which begins the process of keratinization, where cells fill with keratoline granules that help to bind keratin filaments or help in curing the skin on its own. Stratum granulosum contains a lipid filled lamellar bodies that are secreted to form a protective barrier and a waterproof barrier to our outermost layer of our skin. The next layer is stratum lucidum. It is derived from lucid, that means a clear layer. It is a thin translucent layer of our epidermis. It is found only in thick skin such as our palms and soles. And the main function of stratum lucidum is to provide additional protection, and it even reduces the friction and enhances in water resistance barrier against water and mechanical stress. The next or the last layer is stratum corneum, which is even the outermost layer of the epidermis. This stratum corneum, it helps the skin in primary barrier against water loss, pathogens and chemicals. The cells in stratum corneum are layer of extremely flattened scale-like structures. Due to the presence of scale-like structures of cells, they are called as squamous. These stratum corneum provide a durable protection. The main function is to protect and give a durable protection for our underlying tissues of the skin. The next layer of our skin is dermis, which is subdivided again into hypodermis. Now, what are dermis? The dermis are a thicker layer of connective tissues containing blood vessels, nerves and hair follicles. It is located beneath the epidermis that provide structural support and flexibility to our skin. It is made of connective tissues which are dense. It is also known as papillary layer. Deep to this layer, we have connective tissue fibers forming interlacing network, which is known as reticular layer. It provides structural integrity and is important for temperature regulation. The next sublayer is hypodermis. The hypodermis are also known as subcutaneous, a deepest layer of fat and connective tissues that anchors the skin to the underlying muscles and provides a insulation and nutrients to our skin. The hypodermis are the deepest layer of loose connective tissues that binds the skin to underlying structures. The skin appendages. The skin appendages, the first one is hair follicles. What are hairs? Hairs are present on the skin covering almost all parts of our body except our palm, soles, sides of our fingers and some parts of our external genital. The length and texture and distribution of hair are different in both males and females. The hair has many parts, like hair has its shaft, that is visible part. The hair has a root, that is embedded part, and the hair has a bulb, that is expanded lower end, and it has a hair follicle, those are surrounding tubular sheath, and a hair papillae invagating layer of dermis. The next appendages is erector pili muscle, which is a smooth muscle attached to the hair follicles that contract to cause goosebumps. The third are sebaceous glands. These sebaceous glands are oil glands that secrete sebum to lubricate hair and skin, found everywhere except in our palm and in our soles. So what is the main function of this sebaceous gland? They secrete oil substance called as sebum, which moisturizes and lubricates the hair and the skin. Sweat glands. The sweat glands produce sweat or perspiration. The sweat gland has two main glands, eccrine gland and an apocrine gland. Eccrine gland they open directly onto the skin surface and produce sweat for the cooling of our skin. Whereas apocrine glands, they secrete a thick or sweat containing fat substance. Both the glands secrete a sweat, but the eccrine gland produce water like substance, those produce cool to our body. Whereas apocrine glands, they also secrete sweat, but those are thick containing fat substances into hair follicles in areas like axilla and groin. The next appendages is nail. Nails are hardened plates of keratin that protect the tips of fingers and toes. They are solid plates of modified horny cells. They form a protective covering on the dorsal surface of our fingers and toes. Now, the key functions of the integumentary system. The main functions are protection, thermoregulation, sensation, and synthesis. How about protection? It acts as a barrier against physical, chemical, and microbial invasion. That is, the skin helps our body from entering of microorganisms and some chemicals. Thermoregulation. Our skin helps in body temperature regulation, example like sweating, and regulating in blood flow. Sensation. It contains nerve endings that detect touch, pressure, pain, heat, and cold. We all know our skin has a sensation, whatever we feel, the touch or the pain, the pressure, heat, cold, everything is from our skin. The next function is synthesis. Our skin helps in the synthesis of vitamin D in the presence of ultraviolet rays or ultraviolet light. We have six main sensory receptors in skin. Those are being divided into two, the capulated and the non-capulated. The capsulated are Pacinian capsules, ruffin endings, missionary capsules, whereas non-capsulated are free nerve endings, Merkel cells, hair follicle receptors. Our skin color. We have different colors, and we have different reasons for our skin color. The few among them are melanin, which is the dark brown pigment of our skin; keratin, that is yellowish color of our skin; it is orange pigment found only in plants, accumulates more in the skins of Asians and Native Americans. The skin thickness, that is blood vessels seen, looks pinker. Hemoglobin. Our hemoglobin plays a major role in the skin color. The dermis contains the blood vessels that give coalescence the pink color to the skin. Even veins are red because blood is red. But when you look at veins through the adipose layer, they look blue. Vessels in skin. Our skin has a blood supply. Skin is a highly vascular organ, as we all know. It derives its arterial blood from a number of plexus. And one plex of arteries is present over the deep fascia. Another plex just below the dermis, which is called as reticular plexus. The papillary plexus lies just below the dermal papillae. The papillary plexus lies just below the dermal papillae. The capillary loops arising from these plexus pass into each dermal papillae. The epidermis has no blood supply. It derives its nutritional entirely by diffusion from the capillary loops of the dermal papillae. and the blood supply is from arteries and veins. The arteries from the two plexus, one at the junction of papillary and another at the reticular layer, and the another at junction of dermis and hypodermis, whereas veins from the three plexus in some position has for arterial and another in the middle of the dermis. Now, what are the main functions of the skin? The skin provides a protective barrier against mechanical, thermal, and physical injury and hazardous substances. The skin helps in prevention loss of moisture. It reduces harmful effects of UV radiations. The skin helps as an sensory organ like touch. It even detects our temperature like heat and cold. Our skin helps in temperature regulation in the form of sweat. A skin helps in immune organ to detect infections. It even helps as a protective layer from entering of microorganisms and chemicals. Our skin helps in the formation of vitamin D. Skin even helps in the storage of water and fats. Skin helps in the absorption of some molecules. This is useful in the administration of certain drugs. Hairs. As we have previously learnt about the appendages of the skin. In that, hair is a main protective layer of our skin. Hair consists of a shaft, root, and follicles. The follicle is an invasion of the epidermis into the dermis and is connected to a sebaceous gland and an erector pile muscle. The main function of hair. Hair provides sensation, it helps with temperature regulation, and it even acts as a filter. Example like our eyelashes. Nails. The main structure of our nail. Nails are made of hard keratin and consist of the nail plate, which is a visible part, and the invisible part which is under our skin is called as nail bed, which has the blood supply. The nail matrix is the area where the new nail cells grow. So, as we cut the nails or sometimes the nails are broken, immediately after few days you can see the nail growth. This nail growth is due to the nail matrix where the cells are present and help them to grow. What is the main function of having a nail to our hands, toes? The main function is they protect the sensitive nerve endings in the fingertips and in our toes. Sweat glands, the another part of our appendages. So, sweat gland structure, there are two main types, eccrine and apocrine. Eccrine sweat glands, as we have previously learned, these are found all over our body and are responsible for cooling the body through sweat secretion. Whereas apocrine sweat glands, they are typically found in areas like armpits, groin, and are known for secreting a sweat with a stronger odor. What is the main function to have a sweat gland? These sweat glands help our body to regulate our body temperature by releasing the sweat through the skin. The next appendages is sebaceous gland. The main structure of the sebaceous glands are these glands that are typically found opening into our hair follicles. And the main function of sebaceous gland are they secrete an oil substance called as sebum, which moisturizes and lubricates the hair into the skin.
Thank you for watching. ప్లీజ్ ప్లే స్టోర్లో స్మార్ట్నెస్ యాప్ డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. థ్యాంక్ యూ. Please like the video, subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications from us.